trust the Force.
The Empire's building a weapon capable of destroying an entire planet. They call it the Death Star. We need to capture the plans if there's any hope of destroying it.
We want to help.
All right. How many do I need?
I'll be there for you. The captain said I had to.
Charming.
The power that we are dealing with here is immeasurable. I will not fail.
The Imperial forces are converging on our present location. Take hold of this moment. The Force is strong.
Tell me you have a backup plan.
Punch it.
May the Force be with us.
A Star Wars story.
You almost got me.
You're welcome.
Rated PG-13.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. New Rogue One footage, so let's break it down. There's also a whole bunch of Jedi stuff in here that we haven't talked about in previous trailers. So the trailer's all about trusting each other, trusting the Force, but the Force part of that is a much bigger deal. And we actually see Jyn with like a little crystal around her neck. The Kyber crystals are actually being mined from this special Jedi planet. There are two big locations that we've seen in all these trailers, aside from the actual interior of the Death Star. There's the tropical planet, which is Scarif, which is actually where the Death Star is being built. Then there's the planet where they're mining the Kyber crystals from, which is called Jedha. And it's actually a term that's taken from some of Lucas's original work, original word for the Jedi. It was something that was created for this movie, like it didn't exist in the Star Wars universe before they wrote the story for Star Wars Rogue One. But it's meant to be this special moon that's kind of like a holy place, like Jerusalem or Mecca, that Jedi would go on pilgrimages to. There's a holy city there that we see in this trailer. That's like a very sacred city, but there are Kyber crystals there. So during the fall of the Old Republic and the rise of the Empire, they started to use it to mine for crystals to create the Death Star super laser. So you have this really WTF desecration of this galactic holy site. So for those of you wondering, this wasn't something that showed up in the original Star Wars films or even the prequels. This is something they're weaving into the mythology, but there were always places that the Jedi would go to search for Force crystals to make their lightsabers. So one of the most fun things for me when I go see this movie is going to be trying to pick out the new bits of mythology they try to weave in that will also be present in the new saga films. Like in the way during episode 7, Luke Skywalker had gone on a pilgrimage to try and find the original Jedi Temple. We see a whole bunch more K2SO. I can already sense he's going to be one of my favorite new characters. So hopefully if he doesn't get blown to smithereens, he'll show up in the new films too. But that's another thing too. There've been talk that they're not going to do saga films anymore after episode 9, but they'll still be doing Star Wars movies. It's just that when they said that they might not do saga films anymore, they were talking about trilogies, especially ones that follow the Skywalker family. So you guys can let me know what you think about that, because if they did do that, then they would do more films like this. Just a really big story from the Star Wars universe, but a relatively self-contained one. But they all would still be in the same continuity, so you might see characters from one movie pop up in another, but it wouldn't necessarily be like a beginning, middle, end through 3 films. It would just be like this continuing story as they jump around the galaxy and jump around in the timeline. But personally, I would really like to see them try to go back into the past at least once for like an Old Republic movie. Like a Knights of the Old Republic movie would be so badass after episode 9, because you can still do a lot of the same really awesome things that you do in Star Wars films, but with completely different characters in a time and a setting that we've never really seen before in the Star Wars movies. But I know this is like the Trust trailer, so on the flip side, it's so funny to see Krennic asking for Darth Vader's trust. And if you've seen episode 4, you know that Darth Vader was not impressed with the Death Star. He's like, this is nothing compared to the power of the Force. So we might see a version of that conversation in the movie. where he tries to appeal to Vader and Vader just completely shuts him down. But because of the weird position that Vader holds inside the Empire, he's kind of off on his own. He oversees things, but he's also in charge of destroying the rebellion. So most of his interest in this story is in tracking down the rebels. He probably barely cares about the construction of the Death Star. Like, the only other big story that I would really like to see out of him in this is him at this Jedi holy place on the Jedha planet, because he would have an interest in them mining Kyber crystals. Even if he wants to crush the Jedi Order, he still respects the Force. Like, he still has reverence for it. So he might be horrified that they're trying to destroy this special Jedi place. Hopefully they don't blow it up when they test that super laser. But I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm mostly interested in how they made this, just as much as I am in the actual story itself. And they did post like a behind the scenes featurette, so if you haven't seen it, here it is right here.
If I'd known since I was 4 that I was going to be shooting a Star Wars film, I would have planned it all my life.
This film, these characters, this story I grew up with. It's a whole world I've been thinking about for quite a long time.
You can feel everyone in the crew and the cast kind of stops and just takes that in, and you remember, oh, we're actually in Star Wars.
It's like the world's greatest toy set. It's a bit like being that kid again with Star Wars figures. Stormtroopers over here, and then this happens, there's an explosion. It's been a lot of fun. It's the greatest job in the world. Rogue One takes place very close to episode 4. The simplest way to explain it is that text you see at the beginning of A New Hope. That is essentially our movie.
They call it the Death Star. Terrible weapon. But there's a way to defeat it. Jin's starting to put together a team.
She wants to fight.
We all do. How many do we need?
It is an ensemble movie, but at the heart of it is a strong woman.
The time to fight is now! Every day they grow stronger.
All these characters are real heroes that are willing to risk everything. Light the place up and make 10 men feel like 100.
Through their journey, we see the formation of the Rebel Alliance and the stealing of the Death Star plans.
Anyone not willing to risk being left behind? Now's your chance to speak up.
That is a bad idea.
Hey,
Quiet. They achieve what they achieve because they achieve it together.
This is Rogue One.
I know the droid is going to be a lot of fun in this, but watching Donnie Yen in all these clips just gets me super hype about badass ninja Jedi skills. He's blind in the movie, and he's technically not a Jedi, but he's basically the Obi-Wan of the group, the mystic who trusts in the Force, whereas at least at the beginning of the movie, everyone else is on the fence about it. You know, more like Han Solo at the beginning of episode 4. Cut to episode 7, and he is a full-on believer in the power of the Force. So Donnie Yen is going to be amazing in this. And let's not forget about Mads Mikkelsen, who just showed up in Doctor Strange. This character I think is going to be a little more fully formed. His Doctor Strange character was really cool, but it fell prey to the common problem in big superhero movies with underdeveloped villains. The character he's playing on this is someone who's presented with the impossible situation, save his family by having to work for the Empire. So he has to help build the Death Star, which is this terrible weapon of mass destruction. But if he doesn't, his family will die. So even though his Doctor Strange character was really cool, I think he's going to be much cooler in Rogue One. So what's going to happen when the movie gets here, I'll do my review video like I would normally do. I'll do Easter eggs and stuff for episode 8. If there are any special Star Wars bonus videos you guys want me to start doing, just let me know in the comments. So be sure to subscribe to get everything. And if you're looking for a really good story to read to get ready for Rogue One that's part of the canon, Catalyst is the new novel they just released. It is a Rogue One prequel, so it's not like crazy big, it's not a huge time investment, but if you want to read classic comics that get into the history of the Jedi, just really big deep cuts, I'd recommend Golden Age of the Sith or Tales of the Jedi, Dark Lords of the Sith War. Technically, they're not canon anymore, but they're still like really awesome stories about Jedi history, Jedi and Sith history specifically. Tomorrow's going to be Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, And then Westworld will be on Monday. So get hyped. It's going to be awesome. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for my Captain Marvel Most Powerful Character video. And you can click here for that Flash Arrow extended trailer. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.